Hey! Happy Thursday, everyone. Hopefully, everyone is feeling good, is happy, had a great week. If not, prayers to you that you can have a good weekend. Anyways, we got TJ and Mariah, best co-host on YouTube tonight. They're going to be helping me out. I need a lot of help for those that don't know. Um, welcome. How y'all tonight?
Doing great. Happy to be back for another Thursday night with you guys and all of our friends that look like are joining us here in chat. It's great to be here on Thursdays.
Awesome. How about you, Mariah?
Doing okay, y'all. Glad to be back. Another Thursday, back at it again.
Awesome. Um, Hey, for those that missed it last night, I did do a. Hey, you asked for it. I put it in the community page on YouTube. Cajun boil, shrimp boil, we don't call it, crawfish boil. If y'all want to see it live, you want to see a video, um, the poll went for, go ahead and do it live. So, hey, I set it all up. I know the audio, the video wasn't the best quality because it's not my normal setup. So, hey, if you missed it, go back and watch it. Anyways, and the the best part of the whole thing was the eating part. For those that don't know, uh, hey, I forgot to mention it. Those watching replay, much love to y'all. Hopefully you enjoy this kind of content. If you like it, give a thumbs up, subscribe, share it out. Hey, put in the comments below the video, the replay, we don't call it. Let me know, you know, because creators kind of feed off of the viewers. You know what I'm saying? To a certain extent. So, anyways, let's go ahead and welcome everyone in. Let's see if I can do it. Hold on. Bear with me, y'all. Um, uh, it ain't working on my side.
Chat's not working?
Uh, hold on. Okay. That's not okay. Let's just go back to how we normally do it. I tried to pull it up on fishcam.link to see who's all here. But hey, someone can help me out, maybe figure that all out. Skull did it on Saturday night, but maybe I need to try it again later. Anyways, let's go ahead and welcome everyone in like I normally do. We got Fishy on, Linda Worth, MNC, Mexicali, 3G, Boots and Cats, Peplin, hashtag Doikey. That's interesting. Carl Works, welcome. Alex, Father Quartz, for those who don't know. Jeff Kane, Shady Grady, Asaya, Steel MP, welcome. Crayfish Empire, Grant, Baba Jackson, Red Laser, Night Owl, Way, best moderator on YouTube, Night Owl, MS Aquascaping, that's a new one, from Singapore. Wow, welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Shark Fin, welcome. Okay, I think I did mention the ball in the chat. And while TJ and Mariah is hanging out, I'm gonna try to put the banner. I know y'all. Bear with me. As I figure it out. Yeah. Hey, as it's a tip of the night, y'all. If you're a creator, don't wait till the last minute to do this. Do as I say, not as I do.
Good advice, Vibes. Good advice.
Now I'm a little bit puzzled. Bear with me. There we go. We got it. All right. So I'm gonna do it a little bit differently tonight. Someone did tell me after the live last week to change it up a little bit. So there you go. Oops, that didn't work. Anyways, so yeah.
I was gonna say that
Okay.
that looked like a confused vibes face right there. So I was thinking that we had a little difficulty going on.
Okay. You know what, y'all? I'm gonna still try to put it up, but in the meantime, I'm just gonna say it.
Do
Hey,
it.
if you want to know what the topic is for a live stream on Vibes Aquatics, hey, if there is a topic available, it'll be in the description. If you go under, it says Thursday Night Live #20. It says right. It says more. More. Hit the more. It'll say description. Go on down, and it'll say likes, waiting, the date, etc. But it says topic. Stop wasting your money. There's a topic tonight. Stop wasting your money. So, anyways, if you wanted to know beforehand what the topic was going to be, that way you can come with your questions, with your answers, etc. But let's go ahead with the first one.
Yeah, and I think the idea is we've come up with a list of things that we each feel like are things that, not to say that they don't work, right? I think a lot of these things will work just fine. And I think before we went live, I gave an example, which I'll give when we get to that particular part of the topic. But it's to say that there are different ways to do it and ways that may be a little bit more cost effective, right? And so I think that's kind of where we're all kind of coming from, is to just say, you can certainly use these things, and don't take it that we're feeling that you're wrong because you use them. There's just different ways, and I think we'll explain why we feel like there are different ways when we go through each of these categories.
Yeah. Just because we're doing it or we're saying to do it doesn't mean it's right or it's wrong. It's just our opinion about it.
Yep.
And hopefully, someone watching tonight or in the replay will get some encouragement. So,
Yep.
not only those watching, but also us on the panel, just talking amongst ourselves. Even in the past live streams, I got encouraged. I got new ideas, advice. So it's kind of ways to hang out, kind of thing, Anyways, so let's go ahead and do it. I think this time let's go from the bottom to the top. Change it up a little bit. Stop wasting your money. Water additives like even just normal clarifiers, algicides, pH buffers, stability. Hey, I might be stepping on his toes tonight, but you know what? That's okay. We all need to. I talk to myself personally. I need to think what I'm doing in the hobby. Am I doing it in a money-saving way? Anyways, it's just an idea. So, go ahead, TJ, knock it out of the park.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So I think multiple of us sort of came up with this one in different sort of pockets, and you summarized it really well. I think it's a whole bunch of different products that I think that are out there. The one that I think sticks in my mind the most is the algicides, which you referenced. And again, it's not to say that they don't work. I think there's some of them that do, and there's probably people here who have used them and have had success. But in my mind, a product like that is masking the true problem. If you've got a problem that you need something like an algicide or a water clarifier, something's off. And my approach, as I've gotten, again, I've been really honest with everybody here. I'm, coming into, I guess it'd be 4 years in the hobby later this year. Still very new. But I feel like my approach has always been to fix the problem or attempt to fix the problem. And what that did is that caused me for 3 years I had my 40-gallon planted community tank. It was a total algae mess. Started out with green water. That I was able to get to go away. Ended up with green hair algae that would hardly ever go away. And I worked and I worked and I worked and I tried to figure it out. And I added more plants. And so as I continued to research, I learned some of the ways that you can combat these algae type of situations. I could very easily have used probably, any of the algicide products that are out there. Maybe it would have fixed it, but I would have likely, based on what I experienced, continued to need that product to make it so that it stayed that way. And so, that's just sort of, my perspective is I'd rather work on finding the problem. And it was a combination of not enough plants. It was not the right fertilizers. And now I've started to figure that out. And I have not a speck of algae in that aquarium currently. Doesn't mean it's going to stay like that for forever. But currently it's in a nice spot of being balanced. And so I feel like there are just a number of those products, like the things that you referenced, that, from my perspective, I'd rather just try and use the other methods that I can to fix the problem.
Right. And I think that Fathom Aquatics, algicide is terrible, and I agree with Todd. Most of these products are treating symptoms, not treating the source of the problem.
Yep.
Go ahead, Milan.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that as well. One of the kind of chemicals that I was probably going to touch on was going to be like the clarifiers. I think one thing that probably a lot of us as fish keepers all have in common is that most of us are pretty impatient when it comes to waiting for certain things to happen with our tanks. And I think that with that being said, the clarifiers is really just a big way to kind of speed things up. Personally, I've only ever used it after a big water change and stuff got really mucky during the water change. And when refilling, I didn't really want to wait for the filters to have to do their job. So I gave them a little kickstart with clarifier. But after changing certain methods and doing certain things, I realized that, you don't necessarily need that if you just, number one, have a little bit of patience. And number two, just kind of change the way that you do things in a certain, with a certain methodology, whether it be changing up the process of how you clean the tank so it doesn't get so dirty and mucky in the water column, or the schedule that you do the filters versus the tank. It all really makes a big difference with that. But I don't think that clarifiers is a necessity in a lot of cases. And also, like you said, that could be as well just kind of treating symptoms of something bigger as opposed to the real problem. Because if you just have cloudy water out of nowhere and your tank has been clear and clean, that's obviously a big issue that you need to figure out what's going on instead of just throwing something in there to try to clear it up.
Yep.
Like I said, however, the only time I've ever really used clarifiers is after a water change and stuff's gotten really mucky and I didn't want to wait out the time for it to clear up naturally.
Yeah, it's not to say that we haven't used some of these things from time to time as necessary, but it certainly is one that it adds to the expense of the hobby. And, again, in certain instances, it's, you're going to need to be dependent on it if you don't figure out why it's happening to begin with.
Right. And I think the marketing of a lot of the products will kind of not even really touch on that in a lot of cases. Like especially the clarifiers and the algicides, they'll just say, oh, if your tank is cloudy, then add this much, instead of giving helpful hints or helpful suggestions on figuring out why it became that way in the first place.
That's right.
But of course, they want you to buy the product, so
yeah,
they kind of really need the problem to still persist to a certain extent.
Yes. 100%. Welcome, Craig. Welcome, Vidansky. YFI. Fishwit. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Welcome, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Anyways, now, back when I got into the hobby years ago, I did use all these products because that's what the store told me to do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, who am I to judge? I mean, it's a fish store, so they're probably right? But there are certain circumstances, it's still beneficial to use these products, but on an average daily basis, monthly basis, yearly basis, etc. Like we discussed, figure out the problem. Don't use a Band-Aid on it. I mean, okay. As I mentioned earlier, stability. That's a good product. If you need it, use it. Now, if you're just adding it because someone else told you to add it, tonight's topic is stop wasting your money. So we're gonna try to hit the high points. You know, just try to give you ideas. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only caveat that I'll give to this, right, is if using a product like this keeps somebody in the hobby versus just getting absolutely disgusted and leaving after a few months, I kind of am a little indifferent to that idea. My hope is that over time they'll learn a little bit more about the hobby because they'll like it that much that they'll want to see what can they do better, and they'll figure out, oh, I don't really need that product, right? But it got me through a troubling time. Right. And that to me, I'm okay with, right? As long as it's a product that doesn't cause harm and right, it's something that really it does work and it solves the problem and it gets them through that rough patch. I can absolutely get there and say that was probably for them money well spent, right? And that allowed them to sort of get to a place where they've learned enough where they can change their mind in the future, right? And so that's, from my perspective, that's the caveat that I'll put out there is, I think of Vibes. I remember at the Clash, the couple that that are from somewhere there in PA, they had their little boy. And the little boy got the give a kid a tank, right? And it was obvious to me, and I think it probably was to you as well, based on the questions that they were asking us, they didn't really know much. They had learned something certainly from the event, but were starting fresh. If those people needed to go to the store to get something to get them through the rough patch and do a little bit more research, all for it. All for it.
Shout out to Jeff Kane. Thank you very much. He's been a member for a month, you guys.
1 month.
Nice.
We are happy to have you as part of the Vibes Aquatics family.
That is so awesome. I'm going to put it up. He deserves it. There we go. Thank you, Jeff Kane. I did see it in the chat. Hey, Latoya, welcome. Sorry, missed it. Anyway, someone mentioned about the pH plus, pH minus, etc.
Oh, Alex mentioned that. Fathom.
Okay. Just because this one is a little hard one for me, because they say cichlids need hard water, especially Africans. Yes and no. The main thing is it'd be better if you can get the fish adjusted to your water perimeters than adjusting your water perimeters to the fish. If I make myself clear. Hey, you know what? I'm going to go back to when I started in the hobby. Hey, I use pH buffer like every single week to try to make the water pristine, perfect to the fish's original, where they come from, origin. And I struggled with it, I had fish lost. Like, it just like a regular, every couple of days, another fish would die. And here I'd be fighting and trying to control the pH and everything until someone said, hey, just stop using pH buffer. Just let your fish adjust to your perimeters and they'll be fine. Well, that is so true because here I am today, not chasing the perimeters, and the fish are happy, they're thriving, they're reproducing, so something's going good. Anyways, I saw another one in the chat. Let's go ahead and check it out. Wi-Fi, remember for 2 months.
Ooh, thank you.
I go on you, Miss Wi-Fi. Welcome.
Well played, Wi-Fi. Well played.
Yeah.
Yeah, vibes. I definitely agree with you there. And Alex, of course, with the pH stuff. I mean, perfect example. Just like you said. I mean, I've got South and Central Americans, and mine are supposed to have much softer water. I've got water about as hard as an African lake in that tank down there, and they do wonderfully in it. It's also a lot warmer than their usual environment. That's tank is set around what a discus tank would be set at. It's around 82 degrees, and they do wonderful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
so
definitely agree as far as the pH stuff goes. Just let the fish adjust to the parameters instead of trying to fight to chase those perfect water quality parameters.
So I think the only thing that I'll say to that is that I do in my African cichlid tanks, I do use like an aragonite sand, something that will kind of bring it up a little bit, right? And it does it
Yeah.
slowly over time, because I feel like it's margin of error
Mm-hmm.
is a much larger margin of error than you'll ever get with adding, buffers and things like that, especially as a new keeper, trying to make sure that you sort of do that. I mean, it's not necessarily math, but you kind of get that recipe correct when you're doing water changes, adding more, and so that you keep it consistent, I think is quite important. But in a case where something like that is, if I'm going to put sand in there and I do aragonite sand, to me, that's a set it and forget it, at least for a good long while. And that, maybe there's some benefit that they get from having that slightly harder water than what I've got coming out of the tap. But, as far as the regular interventions, yeah, I would agree. I think in most cases, it's probably not. MNC had a good comment here. If wild caught, they can see chasing pH, but if it's tank raised, they've never seen a need for it. Right. And so, yeah, I think there are some of those cases where, the sensitivity might matter. Some fish maybe need it for, breeding purposes. Okay. So in that case, a person that's doing that probably has the experience to do it really well. And so I think, we're looking at more for the average of the hobby, right? Those folks that maybe they're not breeding fish at all. Maybe they just love community planted tanks or something like that. And in that case, yeah, a lot of those things just aren't necessary.
Right. Okay. Let's move on. Lighting. Lights for your aquariums, for your plants. What's needed? What's extra? Anyways, getting expensive lights because that's what everyone recommends, or the stores recommend you get certain brand. Yeah. Anyways, take it away.
I think we know with lights, there's many ways to be successful. You can do just regular old LEDs from Home Depot or Lowe's, and people have been able to grow, specifically, probably the more easy plants and things like that a lot of people can grow. Maybe you're not, having some of the more difficult things, and you're probably not getting some of the growth and some of the different colors and things happening, but we know it can be done. For me, this is the one that I talked about before we started the stream. I prefer the Fluval lights. For me, it's not a crazy expensive light. It's got an app that I have figured out how to use really nice. and it works for me, and I enjoy the features. So for me, that's an area where I probably, when I need a new light, I'm just going to buy another one because it works. It does all the stuff I need to do. It's got the internal timer. Quality feels pretty good. I haven't had any issues at this point. Now they could all blow tomorrow. Who knows?
Right.
But that's kind of when I think about the hobby and I think about where I'm spending my money. For me, it's an easy purchase to just go buy a Fluval light.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Mariah. Is she frozen?
She looks frozen. Yeah. Maybe having a little network connection. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I really don't have too much of a large opinion on. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're cutting in and out a little bit, Mariah, and your camera's frozen.
Okay. While she figures that out, I'll go ahead and tell you my opinions, my thoughts on the lighting. Right now, I got four of my tanks, big tanks, that have Hygger, only because they reached out to me. And hey, why not? If someone's gonna give you lighting, go ahead and put them on your aquarium. I mean, don't just because I'm telling you not to do it. If someone gives it to you, do it.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I was using the shop lights. You buy from Lowe's, Home Depot, the LED ones. Hey, they do work, y'all. Actually, some of them work too well because for a while there, until I figured how to balance them out, the right time frame of having them on, I was fighting allergy bad.
Mm-hmm.
So they're definitely strong enough to grow plants. Now,
yeah.
Okay, if you're growing plants, if you're farming plants,
Mm-hmm.
that's a different story.
Yeah.
But even those, you can still do it with shop lights.
Sure.
Let's go and give us another try, y'all. She's back. Hopefully.
There
Welcome
she
back.
is.
Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right. But I was about to say I don't really have too huge of an opinion on lights and specifics, just because the light that I currently use is actually a 12-year-old bulb. It's an Aqueon, just regular old bar light that pops in and you twist it. It's very old, and I'm surprised it actually still works. And then
But
recently,
it does just fine for you.
Yeah, definitely. Recently, I came across a Glowfish tank light that was a part of a kit that someone was throwing away, and all it needed was a little tweaking to the wire, some electrical tape, and it works perfectly fine. So I now have blue light on the tank as well if I choose.
Yee!
Blue light and white light. So.
Yep.
You mentioned a good point there. If something is free, I mean, why not use it if it's possible?
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yep.
And a lot of times in this hobby, a lot of people, most people are beginners, and they end up coming across a piece of equipment or something like that, and we get returns to the stores all the time where people are like, oh, this doesn't work, or it doesn't do this, or it's not right. And you take it, you take a look at it, you pop it open, you do one little thing, and it works like new. And of course, the store can't sell it after that, and then they have to throw it away. So it's like, why let this perfectly good product go to waste?
Yep.
Right.
I mean, there's been many filters I've gotten that way. I wish that someone would return an FX6 to the store and say that it doesn't work.
Maybe someday. Maybe someday.
You know, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Mariah. I was just gonna say M&C had a comment here that they've got fluorescent, incandescent, some LED shop lights, and even metal halide. So that's different lighting technology from across probably the decades of fish keeping, and it all works. So I think that really does go back to kind of our point around the fact that there's a lot of ways to do it. And I'm also seeing a few comments in here talking about the Fluval. Yeah, that's what I feel. It works, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's simple, it's easy. I understand the app. I can just set it, I forget about it, and I move on. And for me, that's totally worth the expense for the convenience, right? That's just one of those convenience features of the hobby that I like.
Welcome, Nathan. Welcome, Scuba Steve. Yeah, moving on, filtration. Since Mariah mentioned it, let's go ahead and get into that. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and start it off.
Yep.
Since you already know that Vibes is FX kind of one of his passions, I'm gonna just say, hey, you don't need an FX6 for your tank. You don't need it. It's a waste of money. The best route would be go to sponge or underground filter. For the lights, yeah, but for the filtration purposes, I mean, hey, it works. Don't get me wrong. The canisters do work, but now if you get it free or reasonable price, yeah, do it. But tonight is stop wasting your money. It's a topic. So other ways you could do it is, like I said, go to sponge, underground filter, go do it DIY here on the back sub or something like that. But yeah, and while we're in the filtration tab, the cartridges that you put into your hang-on backs or the media you put into your canisters, to hang on backs to your, even just replacing your sponge filters. If you go, I didn't do a little more to it, but I've seen the FX6 directions. It says to replace the media, the sponges, like every 3 months. Replace the sponges, and every 6 months replace the biological media.
Really?
Yeah, and the plastic insert to replace that once a year. I mean, it's like a list of stuff that you need to replace.
No way, Vibes. I would have never thought that.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. Now, of course, I haven't done it personally. I had to kind of laugh a little bit, but the marketing is there, y'all. Don't get me wrong. Marketing, it works. I mean, people will follow it. That's how they make money. It works.
Yeah.
And the cartridges for your hang-on backs. Every couple months, take them out, replace them, put new ones in. I mean, if you have them, go ahead and use them. Hey, whatever. But what you can do, use them, but add some sponges to it. And eventually, just toss those cartridges out and use sponges, polyfill, use some biomedia in there. Either bio balls, lava rock, some ceramic pebbles, all the other high fancy media, whatever. But yeah, that's my take on it. I don't want to take too much time on it. Go ahead.
Yep. So I think I've got 2 hang-on backs, both Marine Lands. And they are one that's more designed. The flow is front to back. They're a filter cartridge type of filter. I just replaced I didn't even use the filter cartridge that it came with. I started from the very beginning with a sheet of sponge, just cut it to size. And in the one that's over my shoulder here, I used a media bag with a small amount of biomedia that actually our friend Ben Ochart had suggested in one of his videos a long time ago as a a fairly inexpensive type of media from Amazon. It's just these like little plastic balls with some kind of like sponge material in it.
Yeah.
That just works great. Every few water changes, I pull all that stuff out. I swish it around in a bucket of the old tank water as I'm doing the water change, and we're good to go.
Mm-hmm. Welcome, DD. What have you eaten, Mariah?
Yeah, I definitely agree as far as the filter cartridges goes. I was just saying earlier that, depending on the tank that you have them in, you can get a fair amount of use of them if you do have carbon filters. And the marketing side of it will make you think in the store that because there's 3 filters in a box and it says 3-month supply, it implies you're supposed to change them every month, which in reality, we know that that's just not true. Carbon lasts much longer than that. Especially, also, disclaimer, this definitely also depends on the size of your tank and the bioload in your tank. So let me just say that as well.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, carbon does last much longer than that in a tank, especially if you're doing regular maintenance and water changes as you're supposed to. With that being said, you could just add things like sponges, polyfill, different media sources along with that carbon filter to extend the life of it.
Yes.
I've gotten very, very good use out of those things up to about 6 months in a fairly large tank with a moderate bioload, I would say. But yeah, you pop it out, rinse it off in a little tank water, pop it back in, you're good to go.
Yep. I think that's right. That's right.
No, I mean, of course, like I see in the chat, also panel have been talking about it. Yeah, just rinse it out. Rinse it out. Hey, if you have to rinse it out once a month, I mean, I don't, but hey, just rinse it out. Hey, if you're worried about killing the beneficial bacteria, rinse it in tank water. I mean,
yep, easy, simple. Just fill a bucket with a little bit of water so that you've got enough in there to kind of cover it, and swish it around a little bit, pop it right back in the filter. It's so simple, right? That is one thing I love about the Hang On Backs is you can do that, and it's easy to take care of.
I unfortunately made the mistake one time of rinsing them off in just unconditioned tap water and putting them back in. Yeah, I did that the same day that I did a pretty heavy water change. Idea. Bad idea.
Hold on, y'all. I'm putting something in my notes. Something that we were talking about that I see a potential in the future. Talk.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yes, I saw that. I'm gonna pull it up here. Yeah, biomedia keeps getting better. Why would you throw it out? I'm keeping it till it falls apart. So true, SI. Yep, I agree 100%. And Alex said he used his 8-year-old ceramic rings. There you go. Just rinse them time to time. Never need to replace them. Yep. And hey, quick side note here though. If you toss it out, your biomedia, if it depends on, it's not going to totally destroy your system, but it depends on what it is. It will affect it. So be careful if you're doing that. Welcome, Skipper. Good to see you. Okay, moving on. Vacation feeders. Wow, this is a big one. If you're going on vacation and you're worried about your fish not getting fed while you're gone, either go with those vacation feeders, the little blocks you put in your tank.
Yep.
Oh, while we're on the subject, I'm going to throw in do it. Automatic fish feeders for vacation. As a side note, so think about what we're talking about. But my opinion about the vacation feeders, I never done it. I never even. Okay, so I bought them years ago because this is my getting a hobby, right?
Hmm.
And I was going to go on vacation. So what do I do? I mean, I asked my fish store, oh yeah, this is what you use, and your fish should be happy right way gone. But from the time I bought them to the time my vacation was, I did a lot of research and I found a lot of um, mixed feelings about that. So I just told her, hey, I'm not gonna use them. I had a buddy come over and watch the tanks while I was gone. But anyways, go ahead, TJ.
Yeah. So I used them once. This was a trip a few years ago. We drove from here on the East Coast to Colorado and back. So we spent 2 weeks on the road. And so I was like, oh, I'll try the vacation feeders. I came back. I'm pretty convinced the fish never even touched them. So when I saw that, they all looked fine. I fed them as soon as we got home. Right, there was no issues, unless it's like truly like baby fish. I think they can go quite a long time without eating, and so for me, it's just easier. There's much less risk to just not do anything at all. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
vacation feeders in general are going to be a no. Um, Automatic feeders are a yes. I've used one quite successfully, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, in a situation like that, um, is yeah, if I've had some baby fish, like some of the baby shell dwellers and stuff like that, and I want to make sure the tank gets fed, yeah, I will test it leading up to going away. So I see what it does every day, and if it can do it for, call it 2 weeks, and it's putting in, a proper amount of food, then I know I'm good to go. And at least the baby fish that really probably need to eat aren't going to go hungry for, a week,
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks at a time. But as far as the true vacation feeders that you dump in the water, yeah, I don't think it's necessary.
Right. Welcome, Roxy. Good to see you. I'm gonna look at the chat a little bit here. I saw that some funny notes in there, but I'm not gonna read those. Skipper, since you, so what I do before I go on vacation, I gut load the fish. If I'm gone over 5 days, it do fine for me. Yeah, that's another way of doing it. I've done that already. Um,
Hmm.
now, hey, if your tank is established, okay, if your tank has been running over a year and not adding new species to the tank, etc., then your tank should already have food in the tank. There should be an ecosystem in your tank.
Hmm.
So if you're gone for up to a week, your all adult fish should be 100% fine to get back. Now the babies, now it depends on if the babies are on their new tank. That's a different story. But if the
Yep.
babies are in the stylish tank, there you go. There again, there's going to be food for them. But go ahead, Mariah.
Yeah, I've never used vacation feeders. I've never even recommended them in the store unless it was like an automatic feeder type situation where you can control it from an app
Mm-hmm.
or from your phone, something that you can control with the amount and with the schedule of it. I never used them, especially the blocks. They just muck up the aquarium, and a lot of times fish get sick or they get bloated, and it's just really not that great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I never used them, and I don't think they're really necessary. Uh, there's a lot of ways that you can really get around being gone for a week or even 2 weeks. It's even with baby fish, like you guys said, there's many ways that you can do it. And I saw somebody said something about stuffing the neck of a vinegar eel bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Coral said
Mm-hmm.
um, that, and that sounds like a pretty cool idea. I wouldn't have even thought of something like that, but yeah, that makes sense. You know, there's
Well,
many
that's
ways to get around it, or even get around having someone else feed your fish for you.
that's an interesting idea that I would never have come up with on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And then, of course, like Vibe said too, if if they're in a well-established tank, whether it's adult fish or baby fish, they'll be perfectly fine for a week or even more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the longest I've been gone without feeding my fish was 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Not one issue. I mean, they were happy
Same.
to see me when I got home.
Oh yeah.
It was like, yeah. I mean, hey, you know what, y'all? I even know. Hey, side note, quick. I noticed that my fish seemed happier, seemed healthier. Maybe because the gut was cleaned out. You know.
Mm-hmm.
They had a vacation from you while you had a vacation from them.
They get to have their own fasting period, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I'm sorry, fish. I'm sorry, pets. I didn't mean to be the hard on y'all. Hey, that's a good point, though. I never thought that.
Yeah.
Welcome, Melvin. Okay, let's move on. We don't want to push over time too much. Okay, now this one's changing the subject just a little bit. It's still, hey, this would be on the, if you're a creator side of the ledge, have to have a sense of gear to do your videography, your pictureography, whatever you want to do as a creator on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, text, email, etc. Social media. Use your phone as a creator. A lot of my footage I put out, most of that is from my phone. Those are wondering. But no, I'm not saying that the high-end cameras, GoPros, that stuff doesn't work. It works phenomenal. Maybe a lot easier too. But tonight we're talking about stop wasting your money, and that's one way. Hey, just start out with a phone. Hey, yeah, I'll show y'all. Y'all might laugh at me. If somebody will recognize it. It's an iPhone 10 S Max. This is getting outdated, but hey, it works.
Can't really speak to this one, but I think I've seen a bunch of the folks in the fish fam do different things, and you know, it seems to be all sorts of ways to be able to be successful with creating content.
Yeah. Scuba Steve says, yeah, just give him the iPhone. That's all he needs for his work is done. And he uses his Mac for live streams. There again, for live streams, okay, I know. My computer's over there, whatever, which is what I'm using the last couple of months. Hey, it's easier, I agree. But it's not a need to be a content creator. To do live streams even. I did a live stream for like a year with my phone.
Did you do it from your phone? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it wasn't as easy, but hey, it can be done. How about you, Mariah? About using your phone?
Y'all know I be struggling. I use whatever device I can get my hands on that'll connect to the internet at the time.
There you go, y'all. Perfect.
Looks like Melvin joined us and Sunny G as well.
Welcome, Melvin. Welcome, Sunny G. Okay, I think we hit that topic pretty good. I mean, of course, we go a lot deeper into it, but we don't want, you know, that can be for another night. You know what I mean? Not, in my opinion, the next one, this is the big one. Using stuff that the stores, online products say aquarium related versus using a DIY, something that does not have the aquarium fish on the side of the box. Hold on, let me see if I can.
Like polyfill.
Let's see if I can grab something. Okay, I'll just grab this. This gives you an idea. No, some kind of aquarium fish on the product.
Yep.
If they're using that. Hey, I mean, for fish food wise, that's another topic. But still using the aquarium-related products. Okay, that stuff has been proven. Don't get me wrong, it works.
Mhm.
But to stop wasting money is a topic. So instead of doing that, use the same product that maybe isn't so aquarium related. You know what I'm saying?
It's not branded for aquariums, but it may be the same exact product branded for another purpose. Could be like a household item. Like I use, so a good example is I use a microfiber sponge
Mm-hmm.
to clean the glass in my aquariums.
Right. Okay.
Versus, I know there's you can buy Aquarium Co-op and probably other companies melamine sponges. You can use certainly the mag floats and things like that. Again, those products will all do the job. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, it was, there was no product on it for antibacterial or anything like that, right? So it was just a regular old microfiber sponge. I've bought it. I have bought it several years ago. It still is doing just fine for me. I keep it, cleaned out, just kind of rinsed in the sink, and it works great, right? And
I use
so it
Mr.
would
Clean
never
Magic
have
Eraser.
been something. What's that, Mariah?
I said I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser.
Yeah, right. I mean, and so I think there's all sorts of those things that we can use. MNC says, yeah, it's melamine sponges, right? So you
Mhm.
can buy those, I think, on Amazon, that are basically like the magic erasers, like the other branded versions for cleaning glass, and it's the same basic product.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's lots of those types of
Like, yeah.
examples.
For instance, it says those little tubes with the squeeze at the top. It says detritus removal or
Turkey
your
baster.
feeders for your fish.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
the same thing as the turkey baster.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
one idea. I mean,
Yep.
there's thousands of things that we use regularly for aquariums.
Hmm.
An old
Or even
toothbrush.
certain gravels and sand. I mean, you go to an aquarium store and there's a 10-pound bag of gravel or sand that it looks nice, but it's like $25, and you can go to Home
Hmm.
Depot and get the same thing for way less.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yep, I think that's right. Another one that I was thinking of is to clean glass, I use distilled vinegar.
Yeah.
Windex.
Right. So, but just regular old distilled vinegar I use,
Yeah.
right? And so, and it cleans the glass just fine.
Yeah. And some products out there, you can use it to clean glass, but be careful what products you use, because that can, if it leaks into your, if you drip it into your aquarium, that could affect your fish.
Mm-hmm.
So be
Some
careful.
glass cleaner, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I go for the vinegar.
Yeah.
Right. Not that in a concentration that couldn't create issues in the water, but in the light concentration that I'm using on a paper towel, it works great.
Yeah, I think it's also better, like, if you, whatever you're using, if you put it on what you're using to wipe the glass off as opposed to spraying it directly on the glass, you definitely
Right.
minimize those chances of it getting into the aquarium.
You
Or
got
even
it.
getting to your silicone and degrading the silicone seal.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That's a good point. I like that. Windex external. There you go.
Yep. Sunny G says low abrasive Scotch pads, cheap on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
M&C says dollar store glass cleaner or vinegar. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's lots of these examples of things that you don't need the brand that sits on the store shelf at Petco, PetSmart, or even your local fish store, and or those are other areas where you can save a little bit of money.
Right. Like another one I just thought of just now. Polyfill. The fish store sells it. It's called clear
Filter media, filter floss media,
filter
something.
floss. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same stuff. You go from Walmart,
Right.
Hobby
Walmart, you
Lobby.
can get a way bigger bag for $3. At the
Yeah.
fish store, you're paying $20 for it,
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Now, there is a brand out there, Zara Cerebrum, I think it is. That makes some it's a little more we call it. It's not okay, the quality is more supposed to be better. I haven't tried it yet. I got a box of it back here. I need to just try it. Anyways. I like the idea. You can buy it from Petco, the syrup brand. It's right beside the filter floss. Anyways, the same idea. What you can do instead of using those, you can buy mesh bags from Amazon, eBay. Put the polyfill inside of the mesh bags if you don't want the polyfill to be going everywhere.
Yep.
Or MSC says the quilt batting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Come in sheets. You can cut it. Well, yeah. The polyfill depends where it's at. It's gonna, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It get messy. But all right. Now next one. Custom order aquariums.
Mm-hmm.
TJ.
So I am mixed on this one.
Go ahead.
I am mixed on this one. I think, again, if we think of the average, newer fish keeper, not necessary, right? I think all of my aquariums, in fact, I know all of my aquariums are Petco 50% off, or, what was the $1 per gallon sale aquariums. They're not 100 years old, right? So I can't speak to them being long-term longevity, long-term reliability, but in the time I've had them, they've been fine quality. They get the job done. Fish don't know the difference. But I do think that there are times, and for certain fish keepers, where a custom aquarium may make sense.
Mm-hmm.
When you're thinking about low iron glass, when you're thinking about, and when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about the companies that are out there like a custom aquarium, right? And the flexibility that they can offer somebody who's looking for a particular type of setup, the dimensions that they can make them in, the different types of silicones that they can use. In a case like that, and you're looking for something particular, that's kind of your only choice. I mean, you can make your own aquarium. That's also an option. But in a case like that, I think that it does have a place in the hobby. If, again, it's no different than for me. I say I like the Fluval Light, and I'm willing to spend a little extra because of the convenience, and I think the quality is good. If someone is willing to spend the money, I feel like it's something that is a bonus, but it's certainly not needed. Your fish don't need usually a custom type of aquarium.
Right. Aquafunk, welcome. What's up, bro?
Good hey, Funk.
Yeah, like MSC says, Marketplace, Craigslist. Yeah. Fish club meeting. Garage sales, yard sales, Goodwills, thrift stores.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, if you're getting used aquariums, if they're not up, when you pick them up, if they're not up and running, please water test them.
Yep.
And depending where they're from, do a really deep clean on them.
Mm-hmm.
Because whoever had it before might have used a harsh chemical. Yep. That could affect your new residents. So.
Yep. See, Alex said here most of his aquariums are Petco, but the 180 and one of the 55s are Sephora, and can definitely tell the difference in the glass when they're compared kind of side to side. So yeah, I think that's, in my mind, that's the thing. If you're looking for that low iron glass look, or some of the unique features, or maybe a unique dimension, that's kind of your avenue. And so I think that there are times where that does make sense, but for me, it's obviously not a choice that I've made.
Right. Like you mentioned, Alex, your fish most times will not even notice the custom aquariums,
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Don't get me wrong, a custom aquarium, that's kind of cool, you know, and everything. But as the topic is stop wasting your money, hey, I'm gonna talk about it. Yeah. Occasionally Petco does have half off sales, so that's a way to lower the money part. I did like Alex's comment. Eddie, get used custom tanks. Yeah, if possible. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep.
And MSC mentioned the old Meta frames or the Oceanics. Yeah, those were really good. If you pick them up, hey, yeah, definitely use them.
Yep.
The fish don't notice it. I do, and I pay the bills, not them. How about you, Mariah? How do you feel about the custom ordered aquariums?
I mean, depending on the situation, like if you need it to fit into a certain area or if you're going for a certain aesthetic or whatever, then yeah, go for it. Also, if it's within your budget, go for it.
Yeah.
But do I think it's a necessity? No, not by any means whatsoever.
Yep.
Let's move on to the last one. Now, hey, someone in the chat, if you have questions for us, ask away. I prefer if it was related to any of the items that we discussed this evening, because we could definitely talk a little more about it. But now this one might be a little touchy to some companies out there. I mean, I don't blame them, but just because this is my opinion, this is not the way you should do it or way you should tell if else to do it. But this is my opinion only. Name brand products and foods. Here are just a few. Just because I didn't mention it doesn't mean it's not in the same package. Seacom, Northfin, Sarah, Hakura, Extreme. Let's see some others. API, Fluval, Equion, Topfin. I mean, this can keep. I can keep going. I can go all night long. You know what I mean? But it's just a few items out there, brands that. Hey, I mean, yeah, they do work. Don't get me wrong, but there are like instead of using the fish food, the high brand ones I just mentioned, I'll give you an alternative. That way, y'all don't feel like left out. Check out what's the brand? Ken's Fish. Keith?
That's Ken's Fish is a place, yeah.
Yeah, it's an online website, y'all. For fish food.
Yep.
It's very reasonable. It's easy on your money. Since we're trying to not waste your money tonight, Ken's Fish, you can get like a pound for like a couple bucks for a pound of fish food. All right, you know what, y'all? I'm gonna quick grab just one. Okay, this is a 4.7 ounce Sarah. The reason I grabbed this because this was available. Okay, this is like normal size container you buy at the fish store. And this thing's like $12 for this thing. And it's not even a pound even. And the Ken's Fish, now, of course, they ain't sponsoring this video, etc. It's just something I use. It's something some way to save money for y'all. Anyways, a pound, depends on the pellet size, the flake size, a pound of it, $5 for a pound. It's not even a half a pound, y'all. It's like $12 for this. I mean, it's good stuff, right? But to give you an idea, if you have multiple tanks, save your money. Use a fish food that has high in protein, high in veggie content. If it works, use it. If you're getting free name brand foods, use it. Vibes Aquatics, taste it. Yes, Alpha. Hey,
Oh,
Steve,
boy.
Keith, welcome back.
Not recommended.
Hey, Keith, there's a big difference in fish food quality. Yes, I agree, Keith. But tonight, we're not talking about that tonight. We're talking about the price. Hey, if you can get sponsored by the name brand companies, go do it. Do it. I don't. Most of these brands, they're all good. But since we're talking about not wasting your money, that's why I threw in the Ken's fish, because there is an alternative. So, how about you, TJ?
Yeah. So I think I tend to agree with you. I have also purchased food from Fish Guy's Place.
Mm-hmm.
He is a guy out in Kentucky. I didn't intend to necessarily buy food initially from him. I bought microworm culture, and he threw in some samples.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's got his own brand of mostly, I think he's got a lot of different things, but what he put in the package as samples were little, like, tiny different sizes of like crumbles or pellets, that kind of a thing. Kind of a similar consistency to like a bug bite, but I'm sure it's a different formula. And fish went crazy for it. I seem to feel like that was a pretty good thing. So, I think everybody's got their favorites. I think ingredients certainly matter to some degree, right? You want to make sure that it's got things in it that are healthy for your fish, and you make sure that the food, the content, and kind of those top level ingredients that are supposed to be the highest content. I think you want to make sure that that's got some good ingredients in it, but I struggle to really have any true evidence in my experience that has shown a big difference no matter what brand I feed.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't, right? When I first got back into the hobby a few years ago, I bought on Amazon. They had a sale on a big one of the bigger kind of containers of Tetra, and I ended up going with it, and I froze most of it and pulled it out as I needed from the freezer. And I've got fish that I bought way back then that are still alive today. They're doing fine. They're over 3 years old. Obviously, something seems to be working. And it was really interesting to me when I listened to a fish podcast, and they had one of the guys that runs Cobalt, the company in the United States here, and he himself said, a company like Tetra has a great formula.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I don't know. I place very little stock in my mind in the brand name when it comes to food, and it's something that if the fish really like it, it seems like it's got reasonable ingredients in it, and it's not 100% some sort of a filler or rice or something like that. I don't know that you're going to go wrong.
Yeah. Since you mentioned Tetra, my local discus breeder, that's all he uses ever since he started.
Mm-hmm.
He tried other stuff, but he didn't have any success. So hey, this is a disclaimer, y'all. If something's working for you, and hey, if Ken's fish food, if you try it, it doesn't work for you, that's fine. Don't use it.
Yep.
But if it's working for you at a cheaper price budget, hey,
Mm-hmm.
do it. I feed a variety. Only reason I'm feeding a variety of fish foods to my fish because I've been giving them quite a bit of free stuff. So of course I'm gonna use it, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
But my go-to is Ken's fish, y'all.
Yep.
It's something I can feed No, I don't. Like I said, way past. I feed my feeding schedule. If you missed it, go watch the live streams in the past. Okay. I'm looking at the comments that you're posting in the chat. Yeah, so I saw that. Legit. Hey, that's a good. Hey, it's a great brand. I've used it, no issues. But tonight we're talking about saving your money, so that will not fit in that category. I'm sorry. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna go check over my notes, make sure we didn't miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I did miss something. Substrates. Wow. Using okay, we talked about a little bit about brand, like from Petco, the little pebbles.
Mm-hmm.
Using those, go to your Home Depot and the pea gravel. Rinse it real good. Way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, me personally, I don't like using gravel in my tanks. Besides aquascaping, not aquascape, I do use gravel, but majority I use sand. So instead of now this tank over here, this tank right here, that tank, my goal was to make it a perfect tank for doses.
Mm-hmm.
Back, it worked, yeah, but was it a need? No, that was not a need. That was a waste of money. Anyways, I used aragonite crushed coral.
Yep.
That was expensive. That cost more than the tank. I mean, it was crazy. The substrate.
Yep. I use that in my two Tanganyika tanks, and that's one where, I mean, can you get it other places? Maybe, but it's just easy to go find that at a local fish store.
Yeah,
and buy some bags of that.
I bought it was like 3 different fish stores. I bought all that they had. I traveled around because
right, because you needed that much.
Yeah. So looking back, that was a waste of money. And talking about the topic tonight, that was a waste of money. But yeah, it works. Now still use tank behind me, the discus rainbows. I use blue photo sand from Lowe's. I'm gonna quick tell you the price. That substrate, it cost me like $12 for like 100 pounds of substrate.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus this stuff,
quite a bit more.
Like $300.
Yeah.
Versus $12. I mean, do it in comparison, y'all.
Yep.
Now, long term, this probably has a better buffering, whatever you want to call it. And also, hey, where you live, y'all, your perimeters, your water might be hard for the fish you have. Might be perfect. Here in Texas, most of our water is hard. So, do I really need this? No. This fancy substrate? No, I don't need it. Now, if you're all allowed to, go out collecting and harvest local gravel, substrate, plants, driftwood, etc. instead of buying it. Definitely.
Yeah, I think there's lots of options when it comes to substrates, decor. Right, we know there's plenty of folks in the community that go and they'll find driftwood, and if they live near a big body of water and end up collecting it, drying it out, and submerging it in a bucket to get it to waterlog, and then putting it in a tank. So I think lots of options there where you can save yourself some money, and you don't have to necessarily go to some of the really great aquascaping stores that are out there and buy the pieces that they've got. Not to say that those things aren't amazing, because there are some beautiful products that are out there, but not necessary, right? It's not necessary.
Okay, we're about 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Yep.
TJ, is there any points that we missed or that we should discuss a little bit more?
How about stands?
Ooh, we didn't hit that one at all. Wow.
No. I was just thinking about all of the things that we buy for our hobby, and the ways in which you can do it, and I have a mixture of different stands.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah, and so I've bought everything from my 240 breeders are on stands that I bought at a local fish store. Right, they were the first 2 tanks that I purchased when I got back in a few years ago, and I went to this store. It's a good local place, and they had a series of stands that were out on the floor, and I saw one that I really liked the look of, and I bought it. Definitely more expensive. When I added my 29 gallon that's behind me here, I bought a stand from Walmart. It was an easy one to put together. Works perfectly, right? It's I'm sure it's like inside is like a particle board, but it's covered in like a veneer that's a dark, probably some sort of a plastic, but it's so it looks fine. But that was a fraction of the price. Works just as well. And then downstairs, when I started to get more other tanks, when I started getting more into breeding and bought a few smaller tanks, I have a rack set up that's a Home Depot, Lowe's type of one of the metal racks, and that was still again a fraction of a price of one of the more expensive stands, but now it holds multiple tanks on one rack. And then M&C says, DIY stands, right? So, there's plenty of people that also build stands out of, wood. And I think all of those are certainly viable options. I think if I was to do it again, I would have hoped to be able to get to a place of a rack probably sooner with some of those, because I think it holds, multiple tanks. Or potentially gone with some of the less expensive options for stands that I could just kind of put together myself,
Right.
Rather than necessarily going the route that I originally did. Not that they're nice stands, but I think that was an area where I spent more than I needed to by buying a more finished, assembled version that they had at the local fish store.
Right. I'm going ahead and welcome some more people in. Bunny
Yeah.
Viper, Paul Sotero, Pat Sodix. Welcome. Okay. Right. Sitting right here, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different stands. My best one's right behind me. A DIY one. That's my favorite.
Did you make that one?
I made that.
You did?
Yeah.
I guess I'm
That
not
one-
surprised based on your profession. That's beautiful.
It's custom too. Okay, I got a top is a 90 gallon, the bottom a 75 gallon.
Oh, there's a 75 down there behind the chair.
Yeah.
You just can't. I can't. I see it now. Yep.
See a little piece of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, all right, I'm going to swing it around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You see it there? That's a metal stand you buy from Home Depot or Lowe's.
Yep.
Adjustable,
Yep.
And the one back here, what that light is on, look at the sign is, and the paintings are behind that. The oil aquariums are, y'all. Anyways, that's another tank rack you buy from Lowe's or Home Depot. But that one I picked up from Marketplace, cheap. And the one bit behind the camera, that one's another rack that you see in like garages, etc. It's the like poles that the shelves sit on, and like brackets to hold the shelf on the pole. Anyway, that one up off of Amazon. It was, I don't know, what was it, $60 with the rack? It fits 20 longs perfectly. The only reason I did that, a fellow fish keeper said, "Hey, here's some money. Go get a nice rack." Okay, Okay, that's what I did. That that was kind of like my dream to have one of those with 20
Yep.
longs. Which, hey, quick side note, that rack is for my killifish and for my shrimp. By the way, those wondered. But yeah, now this stand right here. Let's go on a little bit. This one came with the tank.
Yep.
It's one of those ones you get from Petco, PetSmart.
Sure.
The black, cheap polyboard, not polyboard, Solace board. Very cheap. Not. I would not recommend it to anyone. The only reason I still have it, I've been too lazy to take it down because that tank has been up and running for too long. It's going to get moved sometime. I don't know when, but that tank, I need to. I want to do the same idea I did for back here, over here,
yep,
and over here. But tonight we're talking about stop wasting money. That will be wasting my money, so we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, what use metal racks or the DIY wooden ones, just fine. But whatever is cheapest.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Paul brought up a nice comment here. There's always an option of going to a metal shop and having a stand made out of square tubing.
Yeah, but is that a need?
No, and so I think that's the takeaway, right? Is that all of the options that you and I have talked about, they're all going to work.
Yeah.
Right? Some of them are going to look much more decorative. Some of them are much more functional. It really depends. Again, it's another one of those choices that says, as a fish keeper, where do I place my emphasis? And if the emphasis is, I need to, because of where I keep my tanks, I need to have a beautiful stand that makes it look like a piece of furniture. I get it, right? As someone who has tanks in their main living spaces of their homes, I absolutely, I respect that opinion, and I, kind of have that opinion myself in a lot of ways.
Right.
And so that's why I've made some of the choices I've made, but it was not 100% necessary. There's no way. If it was really and truly, I need to get into the hobby and do it in the most cost-effective way, definitely other ways to get there.
Right. And we're running out of time, but we've got to really talk about containers to put the fish in. Instead of using a glass box, use a tote.
Use a tub.
Yep.
Right. You can sometimes get those very, very inexpensively when they go on sale at all sorts of different places, and it will work just as well.
Yeah. And Ed going tonight, right?
He is 9:30. It looks like they're scheduled. So we probably ought to start wrapping it up. We got 2 minutes.
Hashtag, money saver.
Sure.
I like that. So before we wrap it up, you got anything to say, TJ?
It's my usual thing. Just I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you tonight. I really enjoy the Thursday night chats, and thanks to everybody who continues on a weekly basis to be with us here. I love the fact that we've got such a nice community of folks that want to have healthy discussion and debate. And yeah, I mean, it's one of the highlights of the week for me, and I look forward to seeing you guys in another week.
Hey, Fish Dreams. I'm just looking at DD. Welcome back. Okay. Yeah. Hey, if you make this fun, the replay crew team, y'all, put in the comments below the video live stream. We play Team 6. That way, those watching later on, if you're here tonight, you see it. Hell, someone's really dedicated to the Vibe fam. So, anyways, thanks. Thank y'all. Yeah, Ed is live. Let's wrap this up. Thanks everyone for being here. I'm gonna leave y'all with some backup music. And hey, Like I started saying now, positive vibes. Stay positive. Till then, peace out. Bye.